Hey everybody, welcome back. It's your girl, Annette Zing, and today is another movie review and audience reaction of, you know it, Dreamworks, The Bad Guys. This one was actually pretty fun. I really had a good time, doing some recordings of watching the movie, and I saw it with my friend, and we just had such a good time. We were just laughing so hard, and you guys pretty much know about my situation with a certain character, Mr. Wolf. And my friend kind of knew a little bit about it, so she was kind of like, oh, so, okay, so that's why you really want to see this movie. But I was like, come on, let's just go see it. What you're about to hear right now is audience recordings I did while watching the movie. There was a lot more people in the theater, so you're going to probably hear a lot of kids laughing and some adults laughing. I hope you enjoy hearing it. Take a look.
Piranha, did we forget something?
What? The present! Of course I didn't forget.
You fart when you lie, right?
What? No, I fart when I'm nervous.
Yeah, nervous about lying.
I'm sorry.
Oh my
I breathed it in!
Yeah, they're big. You're mine.
We may be bad, but we're so good at it. I believe the deep down snake is a kind and generous soul.
Why?
Here, take it. Oh yeah! Pop me, please. Sucker! Come on, man. Now you're gonna make me get all aggressive.
Animals.
Like a cologne.
It's nothing but a deep well of anger.
I ain't angry.
Denial.
Not true!
And self-loathing.
The only one I self-loathe is you.
And those are holes that no amount of cash or priceless art can ever fill.
What's on the Food Network?
They say that art reveals more about the viewer than the artist. Mr.
Poodleton. Oliver Poodleton.
Okay.
I have a feeling it'll be harder than you think. I'd say they're one epic job away from cementing their legacy.
Mr. Poodleton, you're funny.
I am?
Yeah, we like to see they're cementing his life in prison.
Are you okay, ma'am?
Oh, my gracious, yes. I may be dizzy, but I'm alive, thanks to you.
What are you...
Oh. Thank you, dear. You're such a good boy. They stole a golden dolphin!
Come on, you can't prove that.
My baby! These bad guys.
So long, suckers!
Oh god.
Well, this just got a little weird. Excuse me, Madam Governor. I seem to remember that a wise person once said, even trash can be recycled into something beautiful.
Okay, I'm game.
Now that everyone's happy, not happy, I, Rupert Marmalade the Fourth, will turn the bad guys into the good guys.
Of your best life.
A giant butt!
Huh? It's not a butt. It's a lamp in the shape of the Love Crater meteorite. My greatest.
I wonder whose butt it is.
Once again, it's not a butt. Thank you. It's a heart. Now, as I was
Why does
saying,
it have cheeks? What? I've never seen a heart with cheeks.
it's not a butt. It's not a butt. Does he know what a butt is? As I was saying,
Mr. Piranha, help Grandma across the street.
Sure. I'll do this all the time. Here you go, Bill. Oh, he is totally gonna blow it. What was that? What do you say? You think I can't do it?
Maybe simpler? I want you to save it.
Oh, right. Whoa, that cat is obviously defective.
What is wrong with you? You're gonna give it a heart attack. I am. What's up, Papa? What are you doing?
Time to launch that charm offensive.
Oh, yeah. A full cloning.
Madam Governor, Diane.
Do not cloning me, Wolf. Don't you ever get tired of lying?
No. I mean, fudge. That was a trick question, right?
Come on, what have you got to lose?
I don't know. My dignity?
Yeah, well, that ship has already sailed.
Just give me a chance. Truth is, we actually have a lot in common. Don't tell anyone. But I love a little scratch on the spot behind my ears. You know, right there. The best. Come on, kitty.
Oh no! Oh my god! Oh!
No! What you see? Am I good or bad? Don't you judge so fast. Hey, I know you think you know it. You made your own conclusion. You think that I look scary? Well, that's your own delusion. Listen when I tell you, there's more than meets the eye. So take a closer look to find the real good guy.
Mr. Wolf,
Diane, yeah, what a surprise.
you know, if I didn't know better, I'd think that you were avoiding me.
Avoiding you? Why would I do that?
Okay. But I have to say, I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping you were going to ask me to dance.
Get up on the floor, we're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get your feet right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good guys. We're gonna be good tonight. Wanna get your feet right. We're gonna be good tonight. We're the good guys. We're the good guys. Wanna get your feet right. We're gonna be good tonight.
So, how does it feel to have everyone not fear you for a change?
It feels good. Real good. Diane, it belongs to you. The one and only Professor.
No!
The Professor
He's not gonna do it.
on. Professor Marmalade. Tell him
we didn't do it. There, of course you didn't do it. How could you? After all, you're such a good boy.
You're such a good boy.
That shiver up my spine, the wag in my tiny tail.
Oh my
We tried a
god.
little experiment, Diane. As you know, my Gala for goodness.
Where the legendary Love Crater meteorite will be on display for the first time ever.
All eyes will be on you tonight, not me.
You're such a good
Oh my god.
You. It was all you.
What the
Guys, he's creeping me out. Wait, what? What's going on? Someone turn me around.
Well, so you finally get it.
What? You stole the meteorite?
Oh, it's not just a meteorite.
Told you guys it's a butt.
It's not about.
I was trying to steal the purse when the old lady fell and I kind of helped her.
What?
I kind of helped her.
But then you stole the purse.
No, I didn't. I saved the old lady and she hugged me and my tail wagged and I didn't know what it was, but it felt, you know, good.
It's Diane the Fox.
Diane? But how do you know how to do all of that? Kick, kick, punch, punch.
Wait a sec, you're the Crimson Ball?
I think Wolf was right. Maybe we could be more than just scary villains. Oh, wow.
Really?
Is this wagging? We're wagging.
No, no, no! We'll always be bad guys! I wanna go on the girls trip. You ain't sure, right? Yeah, why? It's my car! It's Ceviche, baby!
Where'd you learn to do that? Well, you know, kind of a natural. Mostly YouTube.
Nice work.
Meet me at the police station.
Don't be late.
God, the animation in that was fantastic.
Yeah. I was surprised with the action. The action was actually sounding really good.
Like, she is
I
obviously,
love.
like one of the best parts.
I know. I like her a lot.
Like, the expressions were good, animation was great. Dreamworks is killing it.
Yeah. That's all the recordings I did for The Bad Guys. Again, like, I really had a good time watching this with my friend, especially watching it when there's a lot of children and a lot of families and adults in the theater and they're laughing and hearing children laughing. It was really fun to watch. The experience on watching this film it was really quick. You know, this movie was really like a fast-paced movie, and I was kind of sad because I was like, that's it? Like, that's all? I want to see more of these characters. I want to see more of this, and because it was just really cool. You know, I decided to, you know, I wanted to see it again, so a couple days later, when I had the time, I went to see it the second time, and I liked it a lot better, because usually that's with me. If I see a movie a second or third time, I like it a lot better, because if I know what's going to happen, sometimes I pick the pieces and kind of understand situations that I didn't get from the first one. So, but yeah, when I saw it the second time, I liked it a lot better, and I had a better understanding on, you know, with the story, with the characters, and also like catching some things that I didn't get from the first movie, or that I didn't really understand when I saw it for the first time. So that was also kind of like giving me an idea of like why, you know, why it was unclear, or why I didn't get it, or like why you get to know a little bit of it but not all of it. If you know what I mean. If you don't, I'm gonna quickly explain it later on, but yeah, so far that's my experience with the movie, and now I'm gonna start talking about my likes about this movie. So the first one is that the animation. You know, I was so impressed with this animation, you know, and I briefly explained about it when I did a trailer reaction on the movie, that this was a lot of 2D, but it had like little hint of 3D. The facial expressions of the characters were very authentic, and especially the physicality of the characters. And I noticed with like the physicality of the characters, there was a little bit of cartoony physicality, and you know, like I always call it like a Looney Tunes action or a Tom and Jerry action, you know, just the classic, like, you know, just like when they fall or when they try to run, you know, it's just all of those kind of like cartoony action. So there was a little bit of that with some characters, which I thought was kind of fun to watch. I really like the setting of the movie. So I really like the fact that the city that they're living in, they don't really have a name of the city, but this is so like Los Angeles. They made this city so much like Los Angeles, which is kind of funny because it's pretty much relevant, because that's basically Los Angeles, with car chases and, you know, bad guys and crimes and police officers, the LAPD and all. So it's kind of funny that they add those kind of things in this particular movie, because it's about the bad guys, and you know, there's police officers involved, and this city looks so much like LA. So I thought that was actually very kind of creative that they did that. The second one is the characters. So right away, you know, the bad guys, I absolutely love the bad guys. I like the fact that they each have a very unique personality, and they have different skills that they use when they're on a heist, or when they try to steal something, or just anything. If they're doing a bad thing, they each have their own skill to complete the mission or something. Well, like Mr. Wolf, not only he's the leader of the pack, or he plans the idea of like, this is what's gonna happen, this is what you're gonna do, this is what you're gonna do, and this is what I'm gonna do, and blah blah blah. Not only that, but he uses his charm. He uses a lot of his charm to like get where he wants to go, and I just think that's kind of funny. I'm like, of course he's gonna use his charm. Like, come on, he's a Nick Wilde kind of guy. Of course he's gonna use his charisma and his sarcasm and his slyness and all of that. So you have Mr. Snake, who, you know, he mostly did a lot of like cracking the codes on locks or safes, and, you know, trying to get through, you know, locks, mostly just all of that stuff. Mr. Shark, who does a lot of dress up and disguises. You know, there's a scene of like when they're on a heist to steal that like golden dolphin thing. Of course, Mr. Shark dresses up like a woman, so I'm like, of course he's gonna put on a dress. So it was kind of funny with that. Miss Tarantula, which I absolutely love, Aquafina, and she was mostly like a technology geek. You know, she hacks in the system, and she does a lot of the technical work and trying to, you know, hack into the systems and trying to prevent, you know, the other bad guys to get caught or to get noticed by surveillance footage or you know, anything that would prevent them to get caught or something. And then Mr. Piranha, he's mostly he just scares people. Like, that's the thing. He just jumps up and just goes, "What's up?" And he just scares you. So he was actually pretty funny as well. And again, out of all the bad guys I love, the one that I really like the most is Mr. Wolf. So he just, I don't know, he's just one of those characters that when you look at them for the first time, you're just like, damn. So that was me. I mean, when I first saw the trailer, I wasn't really thinking about it, but then when people were just talking about him, and then when the second trailer came out, and I saw the second trailer, I was like, oh shit. I was like, whoa, okay. But you know, I mean, he just has so much charisma, sarcasm, and just being so mischievous. And you just go crazy about him, like seriously. I did like ask some of my coworkers saying, let me ask you, this wolf character from the Bad Guys, do you think he's attractive? And they all just look at me like, really? And I was like laughing. Some girls were like, so Mr. Wolf, huh? And I was just, and they're just like, oh, so you're furry. And it's like, no, don't you freaking say that. That is not true. But besides of, you know, liking Mr. Wolf, there's another character that I absolutely love. And it's the fox woman, Diane Foxington. And I have to say, like, it's really shocking to me, like, she, despite of, like, Mr. Wolf being the most attractive male animated character, I probably find her one of the most attractive animated female characters I have ever seen. Like, honestly, like, these two characters are probably the most attractive characters I've ever seen in an animation movie. And not just an animation movie, but as animal characters. Like, that's just very crazy for me to even, you know, say that. She has such a very intelligent personality, and that she has her own kind of charm, and, you know, besides being not just the governor of the city, but spoiler alert, she's also a criminal, well known as the Crimson Paw. And when she's the Crimson Paw, oh my god, she is a badass. Like, oh my god, I enjoy seeing her in action when she's fighting and when she's using her gadgets and weapons. Two scenes I can think of at the top of my head, you know, the first scene was the jail scene, when she tries to get the bad guys, you know, out of jail. She goes to full-on action mode and just starts, you know, beating every police officer and just using her certain skills and just, you know, the physicality, her fighting skills, and had a little ninja skills. But I was just like, holy crap, like, yo, that was crazy. And one that I thought was just so awesome to watch, and I really like how it was put together, but the motorcycle scene. So there's like a scene of like they're trying to defeat Professor Marmalade, and there's all these multiple trucks that like are, you know, that are like controlled by this technology stuff, and her and Tarantula decide to go together to try to get them hacked by Miss Tarantula. So Diane has like this briefcase and tells Webbs, hey, do you want to go on a girls trip? Which I absolutely love that line. And she turns the briefcase into a motorcycle. So she goes full on speed with the motorcycle and doing all these turns and all these cool, like, you know, moves, and it was just really cool. And plus the background, I don't know the name of the song, but like the song that they used for the background was awesome. It just really kind of really expressed, you know, the scene and just the level of her kind of action. It's just, it was so cool. And just, you know, the sound effects, the sounds of the tires, the sound of the motor of the, you know, motorcycle, it was awesome. And oh my god, she was really good riding that motorcycle. But no, it's just, I really like this, you know, female character. She is awesome. I absolutely like her. In spite of with Mr. Wolf, I like her as well. I think she's an awesome character. And plus, me and my friend were actually like saying how much we love her, saying, oh my god, off the charts, one of the best characters. And I was like, yes, I know, I love her. So, but that's another character I really like. third one was the action. You know, I was very impressed with the action. You know, I mean, when you think about action in an animation movie, you're kind of thinking it's very childish, pretty friendly, nothing too exciting or that blows you away. It's more kind of a child level action. It's not very serious action, or it's not as violent, or not as, you know, things that just make you go, oh, or ow, but no, this kind of action in this particular animation movie absolutely blew me away. There was car chases, there were heists, there was a jail breakout, there was the battle between the bad guys and Professor Marmalade. The sounds were amazing, you know, and the background songs that they use for a certain like action scene was very entertaining, very thrilling. The car chases, like there was one in the beginning which I really liked how that was a hookup of the movie. That, you know, Mr. Wolf and Mr. Snake robbed a bank, they get in the car, and then the rest of the gang get in the car, and then they're being chased by some police officers. The screech of the tires and the engine, and, you know, there's the driving and the sounds of the sirens of the police officers, and just all of that. It felt a lot like a Fast and Furious kind of, you know, action. So it was really, really kind of fun to watch, and just hearing it in a big screen in the big theater, it really makes it really fun. It kind of makes you feel like you're kind of riding it, you're in the car with them. So that's what it kind of felt like for me. The action in this movie was kind of like the big climax of this whole film, because basically when it's about the bad guys and it's about doing crime, you have to have really good action, and I'm really glad that they did it, and that it was really good action. Like, it wasn't a very child level kiddie kind of action. It was like really good action. And then the last one was the closure of the film, mostly the ending of the film. I like how, you know, with the character development of the bad guys, it didn't really change. And you know what I mean? Like, this wasn't a case of like they're bad guys and then they're now turned into good guys and now they're heroes and they're a whole different character. They're not who they are as they were at the beginning. And I like how the fact that this was kind of more like they were criminals and now they're becoming vigilantes. They're not robbing banks or stealing or doing bad things to good people. It was kind of more like they were bad, but now they're kind of a little bit better, but they still have some badness in them, but they use it in a good way. So for like scenes I really like, when Mr. Wolf saves the cat from the tree. It was such a sweet moment, and it was so cute to see him saving the cat, especially like this is of the big bad wolf saving a little kitty. You know, that just warms your heart. I kind of like how he talks to the kitty, kind of like he first introduced himself saying, I think we got off the bad start. The name's Wolf. And then the cat kind of like meows, like kind of scared. And he's like, yeah, that's the first impression I get, but hey, just give me a chance. And then I kind of like how he kind of like tells the cat like, oh, I want to share a secret with you. Don't tell anyone. But I love when the scratch behind the ear. And I was just like, and then he was going to do it the same with the cat. They did something really smart that I didn't think about when I saw it the first time. But I thought it was really smart that he first catches the cat because the cat was trying to get away from him, and then he jumps on a certain leaf or something, but then it breaks, so then the cat falls, but then Mr. Wolf caught it, and then he puts it back on the tree. So at first when I saw it, I'm like, wait, why did you put it back on the tree? Like, you just caught it, you can go down. But I thought it was smart that instead of him, you know, catching it and then coming down saying, oh, I caught the cat, but then the cat is still afraid of him, I thought it was smart that he put the cat back on the tree as a sign of like, you know, kind of like a sign of a trust, saying, see, I'm not going to hurt you. I saved you. I put you back on the tree. And also kind of like letting the cat decide to come down when he wants to, or when he feels like he can trust Mr. Wolf. I thought it was a really kind of a good way to like show Mr. Wolf like he's doing the right thing of not just trying to save the cat, but kind of showing, you know, trust to show the cat that to trust him because he just saved it and put it back on the tree, kind of showing, see, I'm harmless, see, now you can trust me. So I thought that was really smart that they add that. And I love how Mr. Wolf brings the kitty with him in bed. I thought it was adorable that he brings the cat. When the gang was going to defeat Marmalade, you know, they were on their way to defeat Marmalade, but then they're like, wait, Mr. Wolf was like, wait a minute. And he decides to bring the cat with them, so he stops by the tree, and then he shouts, here, kitty, 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 and the kitty jumps. And then I love the part when he puts sunglasses on the kitty. I thought that was so cool. I just loved it. And now, like, at the end of the movie, I think the cat is now part of the group because, you know, at the end, they ride along to the sunset, and the cat was there with them. So I think it was kind of cute, and now the cat's kind of part of the group. Another scene that I really like was the Gala scene. There was like a thing that happened that wasn't according to plan, and Mr. Piranha decides to sing a song to like distract the situation. And the song that he was singing that I absolutely love, I thought it was really, really good. It was called like, you know, we're gonna be good tonight, you know, good tonight. It was such a good song, and it had like a little jazz, you know, type of song, and I really, really like that. You know, Anthony Ramos, you know, he's known for like In the Heights and Hamilton, and so it was kind of really cool to hear him singing this song, which was really, it was such a fun song to listen to. And of course, not the fact of the song in general, but the fact of just the dance between Mr. Wolf and Diane. I absolutely love that scene. It's just, you know, it was so fun to watch. But I also found out it's pretty much like a fun fact for this scene, that the director hired a dance choreographer to choreograph the dance scene based on the actors' dance moves. You know, they mentioned how Sam Rockwell, who is the voice of Mr. Wolf, he uses a lot of like groove and a lot of twists and turns and kind of crisscross with his legs and arms, and how like with Zazie Beetz dances a lot with sassiness and hips. He said how the director actually wanted Sam Rockwell and Zazie Beetz to dance together for the choreographer to have a visual of like their dance moves and to collaborate the dancing to make the dancing. But they said unfortunately that didn't happen because both actors were busy on other things, probably on other films that they were working on, and they had different schedules, and one of them was like the other side of the world and this other was somewhere else, so they didn't really have the time to meet up and do the dancing. So that was really disappointing when I heard about that, because I thought that would be so fun to see these two actors who are the voice of these characters to dance, and then you would see a side by side of the actors and the characters that they're playing and doing the same dance move. So I thought that would have been really fun to watch, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But I also loved the little chemistry during the dancing that Mr. Wolf and Diane had, that I thought was so sweet and very flirtatious, I would say. And you know, I just really like it. I thought it was a really kind of a sweet moment that they had together at the dancing. And then another thing that I liked that had to involve with Mr. Wolf and Diane was when they're in the car and Mr. Wolf, like, you know, the bad guys got out of prison with some help with Diane, and the other bad guys decided to like leave because they want no part with, like, you know, defeating Professor Marmalade, and they felt betrayed by Mr. Wolf and all that. So Diane and Mr. Wolf are in the car, and Diane's trying to talk some sense into Mr. Wolf, kind of giving him some comfort and kind of encouraging him that he's doing the right thing. Kind of like how they also get ready for the mission. They're putting on like their suits, they are having their gadgets and weapons, and they just drive with the car and they just go off for the mission. So I thought that was really, really cool to watch. And then the last thing that I really liked was the plot twist of the movie. Most of the plot twists were pretty much predictable. Like, well, like the main was Professor Marmalade was the actual villain of the movie, which I kind of had a feeling because, you know, like the Gala scene when the meteorite is stolen and the bad guys were being blamed for it and then they get arrested. And then all of a sudden Marmalade just shows up. It's like, wait, where was he when all this happened? So that kind of gave me the feeling of like, okay, it's him. But I will say, like, the one plot twist that I actually was not thinking of, that I really didn't realize, was that he was the old lady. That, you know, the scene with Mr. Wolf when it's during the heist when he saves an old lady, and the old lady like says, "Thank you, dear," and then gives him a little pat on the hand saying, "You're such a good boy." And when they revealed that, I was like, oh my god, he was the old lady. Oh my god. So that was like one little plot twist that I actually didn't expect to happen. The one plot twist that I was actually kind of surprised was how Mr. Snake planned to scam Marmalade by pretending to work with him by stealing the meteorite and betraying Mr. Wolf and the gang. So at the end, it turned out that Mr. Snake was actually helping his friends by switching the meteorite. And that, I remember, like, there was a scene of, like, at Professor Marmalade's, like, place, he had a meteorite, but it was like a lamp. So this was a case of, like, Mr. Snake switched the lamp meteorite to the real one. And how he used the helmet to control the guinea pigs to switch the meteorite, and how we thought through all this time that Mr. Snake was now the bad guy, that he betrayed Mr. Wolf by wanting to be the villain and instead of doing the right thing, or, you know, right after he did a good deed to Mr. Shark by giving him a push pop, and then he was like denying that he did something good, and he's like, no, I'm always going to be the bad guy. And then it ended there, so we thought he betrayed Mr. Wolf and he's the villain. But that wasn't the case. I thought it was really smart how they add that and how they explained it by bringing up flashbacks and saying, oh, when he did this, this actually happened. Or when he did this, then this happened. So I thought it was really kind of smart how they all put it together for me to have audience understand what's the twist. So with the first dislike was that this movie was a fast-paced film. At first I was like, okay, that was a good movie, and you know, I really liked it and I enjoyed it. And then moments later when I got home, I started realizing, wow, that was a really short movie. Like, the story was rushed and it all happened in a short period of time. You know, it was a quick plot, pretty much predictable, and like you know what was going to happen, and the plot twist was pretty much, you know, predictable as well, and it was very simplistic. You know, you really didn't expect a lot to happen. I also thought like some scenes that were either very important or have an emotional impact on the story or character, they were too short and wasn't long enough for us as audience to like get to know the character's development or the story's development, or try to feel the scene or something, try to connect with the scene. My second dislike is there was not enough development. You know, I wish there was more development on the bad guys learning how to be good and trying to do a good deed. Because some people mentioned that I didn't really think of was that some of the good deeds that they were doing, we already saw it in the trailer. So there wasn't any new ones that we didn't see in the trailer. You know, they only did one heist by saving the guinea pigs, but they failed. But they didn't do another heist to like, you know, to succeed or, you know, get better. I feel like they should have done another heist and that this time they accomplished it, and then that's when the people of the city starts to like them and, you know, starts to look at them as good guys. So I wish there was more good deeds going on than what they show was really not enough. I also kind of felt like there should have been more emotional connections with not just the whole story, but like the character story and their perspectives of what's going on with them and what they're going through, you know, on a situation or with a character or something. You know, there were some characters that I wish had more development, and for us as audience that we get to know them more. You know, first one is Mr. Wolf. I wish he had a backstory of like him dealing with the situation, which they mention a couple times in the movie, of the scary stereotype. Even though he did like 2 good deeds, you know, saving the old lady and then saving the cat, I wish he did more good deeds instead of just doing 2. You know, you know, like I said, the good deed things, there really wasn't a lot, you know. Right after he saved the cat, Marmalade, like, videotaped it, and then everybody loves them. And it's like, no, there has to be more good deeds, not just one and then everybody loves them. I just don't think that's not, like, enough or something. Even though I like Diane's character development, I still, you know, my thing was like, I wish she was in the movie more often because she technically really wasn't. I wish she was witnessing the experiments with Professor Marmalade, you know, watching the bad guys trying to do good deeds. I also wanted to see more interactions with Mr. Wolf, and maybe like she opens to him a little bit more about her personal issues of, you know, being the governor or dealing with the scary stereotype, because she does mention something about being, you know, known as a tricky fox. There were some circumstances that were left unanswered that I did kind of like mention, like they say a little bit but not a whole lot, or they do mention but just nothing specific. So like with me was like, I wanted to learn a little bit more about this meteorite. Like, what was the situation of the meteorite crashing to the city? Like, how did that all happen? And what were the circumstances that lead to that? So it was just, I thought with the meteorite, I'm like, okay, what's with that? Like, how did that all started? Or how did that even came about or something? This one thing that I absolutely don't understand is why the only animal characters besides Diane and Marmalade, why do they live in a human society? I just find it confusing how they didn't make it like a Zootopia kind of movie of how it's an all animal society or something. How come we don't see more animal characters living in the city and you just have the bad guys, Diane and Professor Marmalade? That's pretty much it. So it's like, so how are they the only animal characters but everybody else is humans? Like, how is that possible? Like, that just does not make sense for me. So I thought that part was a little bit kind of, you know, confusing to me. And speaking of humans, like, one thing that I was not very crazy about was how the humans looked. You know, they looked so cartoony, body figures and the physicality, it's all very cartoony. Like, the animal characters kind of really didn't look very cartoony. They kind of looked a little bit more modern 3D animation kind of look. I don't know, I kind of just didn't like how the humans look comparing to how the animals looked. I did read some of other people's like reviews on like what did they think about the movie, what was their takeaway of the movie. Some people said certain things that, you know, that I completely agree on, but there was also some things that I actually never thought about. And like the first one is that I completely agree with. People want to learn more about the friendship between Mr. Wolf and Mr. Snake. You know, how did they become friends? How did they become criminals? How did they meet the other gang and become the bad guys? Like, how did that all start? People were mentioning that, saying the message they got from the movie was like, if you have a tingling feeling or if your tail's wagging, that means you're doing something good. Instead of saying, you have you have care, you have love for someone's needs, and you have a heart or something. But that's very interesting that somebody thought about that. People wanted to see some scenes to be longer for like development, whether it's personal reasons or emotional connection to a scene, and make the scene, you know, more significant for the movie. This is another thing that people mention that I haven't thought about as well. And this is about Diane's backstory. Kind of like wanting to know, like, how did she become a governor? Like, how did she become the Crimson Paw? And how did that, like, transfer to becoming the governor? Someone said something that I'm like, you know, that would have been really good if they added was, did she had to face the difficult times of being the governor because she was a fox, and, you know, being like the scary stereotype of being a tricky fox, was that hard for her to be the governor when the world looks at a fox as a tricky fox? I mean, that's pretty much like a good point, because it's like, if she lived with that scary stereotype of being a tricky fox, why would the humans vote for her as governor? And how come they look up to her as a good person, but with the bad guys, even though they commit crimes, how do they look at them as a scary stereotype, but not with her as a fox. I don't know. I thought someone made a pretty good point of like, how come she's not getting all the like bad publicity or the scary stereotype because she's a fox and she's the governor. So why is she a governor for like a human city? And also people wanted to know more about Mr. Wolf and Diane's chemistry. They don't know if their chemistry or their development relationship, where's this going? What is their chemistry? What is this? Is this a romantic thing or a platonic thing? Like, where's this going? Where is happening with this? And of course, people want to know, what is the deal with the bad guys, Diane and Professor Marmalade being the only animals in the movie and the rest are humans? Why is that? I think that's the most confusing thing ever in all of the things that I've said recently. Why is this, like, what's the definition of the only animals living in a human city? Like, what is that? Besides, I believe this movie will get better when the sequel comes out, because, like, come on, of course there's going to be a sequel. Like, the director even talked about it when the movie came out in theaters. So I think, and you know, a lot of people don't believe this, but I personally think sequels, depends how the first movie was, that the sequel mostly is like 10 times better than the first one. But yeah, my hope for like this one, I hope the sequel is 10 times better than the first one. Even though how much I like the first one, even though I had some disappointments, I still hope for a sequel and that the sequel is a lot better than the first one. And now I've said everything about my review and what I thought and what I like and didn't like about the film and my predictions for the sequel. Now I'm going to tell you about my rating on the movie. So scale 1 out of 10, I give it an 8. 0 out of 5 stars, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. And with like the Rotten Tomatoes, I know it's like 87%, so that's probably like a good number. I probably would do like 87 or 88%. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this movie review on Dreamworks The Bad Guys. Hopefully, if you get a chance to see it, please leave comments of what you thought about the movie, or if you agreed or disagreed with anything that I said about this movie. Probably will do another audience recording movie review, but I don't know what the next movie would be, because I'm still thinking about it. But yeah, that's all for today's movie review. So catch on to the next reaction video, and I'll see you later, guys.